I'm going to tell you my motorbike story. I only have one, but this is my motorbike story. So, at one stage in England, at one stage in my life in England, I decided I was going to learn to ride a motorbike. And not only that, but I was going to borrow a friend of mine's Harley Davidson. Sorry, let me try that again. But not only that, I was going to borrow a friend of mine's Goldwing, and I was going to ride my new wife. I was going to ride my new wife around. That just sounds terrible. Whilst we were on honeymoon. That sounds even worse. But anyway. So, don't you dare. Don't you dare. So, what I did was, because we were literally going to get married. We had it in the pipe. We had the wedding in the pipeline in about 2 months away. So I was like, right, I've got to learn to ride a motorbike for the first time in my life. And I only have ever had one experience of riding a motorbike when I was probably 18. A friend of mine had a scooter and wanted to teach me how to ride it. Or like, no, it wasn't a scooter. It was like a low cc. Yeah, a friend of mine had a low cc bike, like whatever it was, 50 cc. And tried to teach me, but they were a terrible teacher, and I didn't get it, and I kept stalling, and I just thought, I can't ride bikes. Which, by the way, people, if you ever have a bad experience when you're learning something, sometimes it's not you, okay? Sometimes you just need an awesome teacher. So anyway, as an adult, I had worked this out already, and I decided I was going to go and learn how to ride a motorbike. So I booked into a place that's local, and I did a week-long course in how to ride a motorbike. And we turned up, and my listening isn't very good at all. So we turned up, and they gave us a bike, and we had to wheel it up. And they were like, okay, so get on the bike, start it up, and just like wait for us. And I was like, what do you mean wait for us? Well, just get started, and then we'll tell you what to do next. I was like, I have no idea what to do. I have no idea, Everyone else clearly knew what they were doing. I had no idea. Okay, there was about 20 of us. So I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I was like, flip it. So this is the clutch, this is the brake. What the flip, okay. And so I got on the bike, started the bike up, and I'm sat there going, great, I'm doing quite well here. Everyone else had already moved off. Right? They had already moved off. And the guy says, and I will never forget this, the guy says, just do figure of eights to get warmed up. I got the flip. What the? I had never even been on a bike, apart from that one terrible time when I was a kid. Never mind, be able to like move off. And the figure of the eights is like, figure of the eights is completely out of the question. So I was like, I just called the dude over, and I was just like, look, I feel like I'm completely out of my depth here. And I felt like every student that I have ever taught who's like, I'm never going to get this. It's like, yeah, it's not because you're bad at something. It's because you're new to it. You've never done it before. So they were like, okay, don't worry about the figure of eight. It's just like, they got me started kind of thing. So we did a week course, whole week of it. And there was this one guy that was in the course that above us. He had already been there for like, whatever it was, like 5 or 6 days. And he was freaking whizzing around. He was great. We all looked at him like, he was like, we all looked at him like he was Steve McQueen. Like literally, he had the cool level and he had the skills. And he was flying around. The day came for his test and he failed. And we were just like, okay, so we're looking up to this guy and he failed his test. We have no hope. Another couple of days go, we're out on the roads trying not to get killed by everyone in the traffic in England. And my test day arrived. I turned up literally shaking, like, a little bit. Not like proper, but a little bit. And he's like, okay, right, get the bike. And the first thing I want you to do, this is in the test, the first thing I want you to do is walk the bike over and put it between those two cones. So I went and put it between the wrong two cones. And I'm like, I've already failed, haven't I? So I'm like, and that was really good because what it meant that I chilled out. I was like, I've already failed. I've put it between the wrong cones because I'm a div, right? So let's just give it our best shot and we'll come back and do the test another time. Did the test. Literally having to like weave things, go up and down things, do loop-de-loops. It's pretty full-on bike test here in the UK. Finished. And he said, we're walking along and he's like, so how do you think that went? And I'm like, I'm really sorry about putting my bike at the wrong place at the start. And he was like, sorry, what was that? Wait, what did you do? And I'm like, nothing. I literally said nothing. I did nothing. He's like, okay, just to let you know that you've passed. And I was like, oh, so we had a holiday to America booked, to Wyoming, where there is lots of clear roads, lots of long roads and wide roads. So this is where my plan came in, to get the Goldwing from a friend of mine and go and ride it around in the Americas. Only trouble is, and I knew this was going to come, like I had just been on a tiny little, I think we got up to 250cc. This is a 1000cc massive, like monster of a bike. I already dropped it before I went and honestly, I dropped it before I managed to get it out on the roads. I was like, I'm going to have a little mess around, to get used to it. And I just, slow drop. I was like, oh, flipping heck. I had to call someone to get it up. Eventually, got my new bride on the back. I was like, right, I've been out for a spin. We're going to be okay. And Peaches, who I see is in the chat, was on the back. Say hello to my wife, everybody. Peaches is my wife. She was on the back riding Pillion. She was. Pillion was very happy. and we head off to the mountains. We rode up through the mountains. Glorious day. Just glorious. Literally the heavens were shining down. God was smiling. The sun was shining. And it was one of those days where I was like, I'm going to unzip my leathers. Yes, I am. Because A, there's no cars, so I'm not going to die. And B, because I'm flipping rasting. So we're going around the mountain pass. It's amazing, literally, just so gorgeous. The only thing you're concerned about is rocks, coming down and killing you. But that's fine. We get to this place called Saratoga, where there are hot springs. And we're like, shall we go in the hot springs? Should we go in the hot springs? Because the comms didn't work. Should we go in the hot springs? Nothing. Should we go in the hot springs? She's like, holding on for dear life. So we stopped at the hot springs. We did bring our trunks. Obviously, Peaches wasn't wearing trunks. That would be very strange. We wore our swimming costumes, like we're from the 18th century. And we went into the hot springs, and it was gorgeous. Sun shining down on us. I swear, 1 minute in, the clouds went completely dark. We started hearing like thunder and seeing lightning like a mile off, like a couple of miles off. So we were like, this is bad. We're on a motorbike and we have to get home. We have to go round the mountain pass to get back. So I'm like, I'm really sorry, Peaches, but we're going to have to cut this short, get out of these hot springs, get back on the bike and try and get home before we die. That's the plan. So we get out, we get all our stuff on, all the flipping leathers, and it's just like such a rigmarole, like such a bad mood by the time you get everything back on. So, okay, we came all the way here for a 1 minute dip. We got to get home. The second we got out of town, it started to rain. Like the storm was coming in really, really quickly. And I'm a brand new rider. I really don't have a clue what I'm doing at all. And it's in the wet, which is like freaking scary for a new rider. And it's blowing a gale. I don't know if any of you guys have ridden motorbikes, but the trouble was, I had this thing, and if anyone's ridden bikes will know this. It's raining like crazy, but it's steaming up because you're all wet. So you have to open the visor a bit, but then the rain is like nails and freaking like pins shooting in your eyeballs. So you're like, okay, put it back down. And then you steam up, and then you put it up, and then put it down, steam up, put it up, nails in your eyes. It's literally the worst thing ever. So then you try and find this happy medium where you have it a little bit open, a little bit shut, and nothing is really great. Nothing really works. So we're hammering along in the rain, and I'm like, okay, I've got to go a certain speed because the wind was blowing us that way, and on a bike, if you lean over that way, you turn that way. So you don't want the wind coming from there with your new wife on the back so that you go like that and go into the prairie and die. You don't want that. So I'm like, right, I've got to go a certain speed. I've got to go pretty fast so I can muscle the wind, but not fast enough that when something goes wrong, we skid around and literally die. So I've got this speed maintained. I've got the visor to a certain level where I can actually like see and breathe. We start going up to the mountains and it gets dark. It's getting dark because it is so stormy. And we can hear it even with a bike like going rah, 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 rah. You can hear the thunder like this angry thunder. So we're going up the mountain, going up the mountain, going up the mountain, going up the mountain. And this is what kept happening. We'd be going round like that. We'd go round like that, and it'd be like death and Mordor and doom and gloom. And then you go around this way, and it'd be like there's the sun, and then there's the freaking like Eagles. The band were playing. I know, it was incredible. And then you turn back around, it's like, whoa, boom, 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 boom. We're going to die of death. You know, as you're weaving around the mountain road. It was freaking like, it was really uplifting and really scary at the same time. So we keep going, and I'm just like, we're going to die here. So I turn to Peaches, and I'm like, hey, I've got this, babe. I've got this, babe. We're not out of our depth at the moment. I had been like crapping it the whole way, honestly. Eventually, we got home. We had to sit down, and we made it. We'd freaking made it. And we had a little coffee. And then after about 5 minutes, I was like, right, should we get back on the bike again? And I did. I went straight back out. I was like, I have to get back on the horse. You know, I'm not going to have it like freaking scare the crap out of me and then never get back on. So there is my motorbike story. There are no more, but I would like to make some more motorbike stories. As I said, a friend of mine, Jason, and I, we're going to hire some Harleys, and we're going to ride across America. So we're going to come back with a whole mess of stories from that, and it's going to be awesome. So post any motorbike pictures you have in Discord. Let me bring... There we go. There is my story.